Hello, it's Nicolette. I'm an American living in Paris. I've been living in France for a little over 4 years now, and in that time, I have heard a lot of French slang. But there are a few French slang words that are much more common than others. In today's video, I wanted to share some of the most commonly used French slang words. Knowing these is going to make your life a lot easier and a lot more fun. These are all words that I hear or use myself on an almost daily basis. They're so common that honestly I sometimes forget that they're even slang words, but they are. And they're most likely not in your French textbook. I've broken up this list into kind of general categories. So we have smoking, yes, that's its own category. People, because there is a lot of slang for people and relationships and friends, money and work, and finally, kind of these one-off, fun, outlying words that honestly I hear every single day and they are so much fun. Those are probably my favorite. So let's get into it. Yes, the rumors are true. The French smoke a lot. So we're starting off this list with some French smoking slang. If you come here, someone will most likely ask you for une clope, which is a cigarette. If they already have a cigarette, they might be looking for a lighter, and they'll probably be asking for un feu. This literally translates into a fire. But in the smoking context, they are asking for you to light their cigarette. Or if you have a lighter with you, they might also be using the word un briquet, which is the word for lighter. So we have une clope, un feu, or un briquet. There are so many French slang words for people. First off, the word for friend, pote. This can be masculine, feminine, or plural. This is the slang version of the word ami, which is the more traditional word for friend. And I hear this word so often. It's really common to hear this at parties or events when people are introducing themselves. So let's say you're at a party and you want to introduce your friend Celine. You might say, c'est ma pote Céline. C'est ma pote Céline. This is my friend Celine. Another super common word is mec. This is the word for guy. So instead of the traditional word un homme, this is un mec. And this has multiple meanings. It can mean a man, but it can also mean your boyfriend or romantic partner. So you might say mon mec, my man. You're literally saying my man, but it can refer to your boyfriend or romantic partner. There are words that are specifically for boyfriend and girlfriend. The traditional word you might have heard is un petit ami or une petite amie, but that's not very common. I don't think I've ever heard someone use that in French. What they will be using is un copain or une copine. Un copain is the masculine version, that would be boyfriend, and une copine is the feminine version for a girlfriend. So if you want to introduce your girlfriend, Sarah, you would say ma copine Sarah, my girlfriend Sarah. Another word for man is type, un type. This doesn't work for the boyfriend romantic partner context, but for just saying a man, this works. Honestly, the context when I hear this is more often when you don't know the guy. It's like, oh yeah, this guy that I saw yesterday on the street, or you're in a group setting and there's one strange dude and you're like, who is this guy? C'est qui ce type? So I've heard it more so in the stranger context or a negative context. It's not inherently a negative word. You can absolutely use this instead of un mec, but I often come across this being used in context when you don't really know this guy. Not saying that's the only use of this word, but I'd say that un mec is much more common for a man, and un type is a man, but in context where you're talking generally about a dude or a dude you don't know or a stranger. I've heard un type used for that. Another word you might hear is frérot. This is brother. It's very similar and common to the word frère, which is the traditional word, but this is the slang version of it. And this can be used for your literal brother, your actual brother, or it can be very much like the English word bro. So you're like, mon frérot, my bro. That's what this word is used for a lot. For women, you have the word une meuf, and kind of like un mec, this can be used for a woman, like the word femme, une femme, or it can be used for a girlfriend or your romantic partner. So you might say ma meuf. You're literally saying my woman. I don't know, I have not become accustomed to this word. I don't like using this word. For some reason it feels derogatory, but it's very common. You're gonna hear ma meuf or une meuf a lot. Une meuf is actually a VERLAN word. VERLAN is a type of French slang that involves the inversion of letters or syllables in a word to create the VERLAN version. So with meuf, you took the word femme, une femme, and you kind of mushed it around, inversed it, and you got une meuf. There are so many VERLAN words that you hear all the time. I'm gonna include a few others on this list, but yes, just know that une meuf is a VERLAN word. So there you go, you've learned VERLAN. Real quick, I wanted to share something that you can immediately start using today to help improve your French, and that is France Channel. France Channel is an online streaming platform that offers the best French movies, TV series, documentaries, and much more, all in one place. This is like the Netflix of French content. They have so many incredible things to watch, and everything has English subtitles. There's even a Learn French section, which has content subtitles in both English and French, which is an incredible language learning tool. Watching French movies and TV shows is truly one of the #1 things that helped me improve my French. They really help with listening comprehension, with even reading comprehension when you put the French subtitles on, and also just general cultural knowledge. Like, I learned so much while watching French movies and TV shows that actually was incredibly helpful when I ended up moving to France. It really gave me a leg up, and there were way fewer surprises because I was like, oh yeah, I saw that in a French movie. France Channel makes finding French content a no-brainer. Everything is hand-selected by real French people, people who have worked in the film or TV industry. They know what's good and they put it on there. They have French classics, comedies, romance, drama, and my personal favorite, all of their travel content. If you want to check out France Channel for yourself, you can use the code HELLO30 for 30% off a yearly subscription. I truly think that getting like a subscription to France Channel would be way more helpful than a semester of high school French, just saying. So yes, try out France Channel. I think you're gonna love it. All right, now back to the video. Money and work. A word that I hear all the time is balle, une balle. This is a euro. So instead of saying like something costs 5 euros, 5 euros, you might hear 5 balles. I definitely hear this in context when something is super expensive. So someone might be like, ah, c'était 5000 balles quoi. Like, dude, it was 5,000 euros, but they're using balle. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a large amount. You could literally use it for a single euro. You could say une balle. You might also hear la thune or le fric. These are both words for money. So the more traditional word would be l'argent, but the slang word is la thune or le fric. If you want to talk about work or your job, you would say boulot. So this can refer to a literal job, like you have a job, un boulot, or it can just be work in general. You might say, j'ai beaucoup de boulot. That means I have a lot of work. You're talking about like work in general, whether that's like studying or, you know, going to your job. You just have a lot of boulot, work. The verb form of work is bosser. So this is, instead of travailler, you use the verb bosser, which is a traditional ER verb. So like, let's say you have a friend and he works too much. You can say, il bosse beaucoup. He works a lot. You can also use this to say like where you work. So like, let's say you work in a hotel. You could say, je bosse dans un hôtel. I work in a hotel. I work at a hotel. Je bosse dans un restaurant. You get the picture. Okay, now on to the fun words. I love these. These are kind of just one-off words. I didn't put them into a category other than just like fun words. One of my favorites is probably ouf. This is the VERLAN version of fou. So switch around the syllables, the words, the letters, and you got from fou to ouf. and this means crazy, wild. There are so many fun ways you can use this word. So you can use it as a literal word, crazy. You can also use this to amp up a word. Like, let's say you're in the middle of a heat wave and it is a crazy heat wave. You could say, il y a une chaleur de ouf. There is a crazy heat wave, like it is crazy hot. Another common word is grave. You're gonna hear this a lot. You might just hear this on its own, simply. Like a full sentence can be grave. And what this means is totally. So if someone is talking about something and you totally agree, you're fully on board, you could just say grave, like absolutely. But kind of like the word ouf, you can use this to amp up something. So something could be not just cool, but like totally cool. And then you would say, c'est grave cool. It's really cool. It's not just cool, it's really cool. Another word to amp up stuff is trop. This is super common. I genuinely forget this is technically like a slang word, I guess, but yeah, I use trop a lot. And trop means basically a lot. I spent 2 years in Toulouse, and something I would constantly hear is c'est trop stylé. Like, that's like too stylish. That's so stylish. Someone, you know, arrives to the party and they have some really cool sunglasses. You could be like, c'est trop stylé. If you want, you could add the word quoi at the end. That's super common. I call this the French mic drop. It's like you're adding a period. I guess it's kind of like how in English you say like period at the end. Like this is full stop. You're saying something, period. You would use quoi. So if something is full stop, too cool, you could say c'est trop cool quoi. That'd be very French. All right, and lastly, the word ciné. This is VERLAN for the word merci. And when I first heard this, I was like, what? What did you just say? Personally, I feel that this word is completely unnecessary. Like, merci is like so easy, so simple. It's like one of the first words you learn in French. Why do we need to mix it up? I don't know. But I hear this a lot, you know? If people just want to be extra cool, they'll say ciné instead of merci. I don't personally use this one, but have at it, go for it, because I hear people using it a lot. Don't use it in like a French traditional restaurant though, like that they might give you some weird looks. Well, that's all I have for today. There are so many other words that I could have included on here. I didn't want this video to be like 20 minutes long, so we're gonna keep it at that. But please, in the comments, if you have other French slang words that you've heard, that you don't know what they are, or you do and you just love to use them, put your other French slang words in the comments. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. And you can hit the bell notification to know every time I post a new video. All right, that's all for now. Au revoir.